The ceiling tiles blur above me, sterile white squares that seem to pulse with each beep of the monitor. I count them again and again, trying to focus on anything besides the terrifying numbness below my waist. The antiseptic smell burns my nostrils, mixing with the metallic tang of fear coating my tongue. 1 second I was smiling. The next, I was on the ground, unable to move my legs. A nurse adjusts something beside me, her movements careful, practiced. The hushed voices of medical staff float around the room like ghosts. I catch fragments. Spinal compression. Significant swelling. Wait and see. Wait and see. The door swings open, and Dr. Nathan Cole enters, his expression carefully neutral as he clutches my test results. But I see it the slight tightness around his eyes, the way he takes a deeper breath before speaking. Whatever news he carries isn't good. Earlier that day, I stand in front of my closet, staring at clothes that suddenly seem inadequate for the occasion. Connor's 32nd birthday. My brother, the golden child. My phone buzzes for the 7th time this morning, Mom again. I ignore it, knowing exactly what she'll say. Don't be late. Wear something nice. Try to look presentable for once. I slide into my car, adjusting the rearview mirror. A family photo dangles from it, one of those awkward portraits where everyone stands with careful space between them. Connor on one end, me on the other. Our parents bridging the gap that has always existed between us. The drive to Colorado Springs stretches before me, 45 minutes of dread building in my stomach. The immaculate suburban streets of my childhood neighborhood mock me with their perfect lawns and tasteful facades. Nothing ever seems out of place here except me. Every time I go back, I promise myself it'll be different. Every time, I lie. I pull into the driveway of the sprawling 5-bedroom house where I grew up, tires crunching on the freshly graveled drive. Dad appears before I've even turned off the engine, arms crossed over his chest. Gerald Ward, ex-Marine, current critic of everything I do. You call that parking? He gestures at my perfectly reasonable job. And couldn't you have worn something nicer? People are coming, Meadow. I smooth down my forest green sundress, the one I'd spent an hour choosing. Hello to you too, Dad. Inside, Mom flutters around me like an anxious bird, picking invisible lint from my shoulders. Connor's friends are all here. Such successful people, doctors, lawyers. That nice investment banker from New York flew in specially. Her meaning is clear. Unlike you, the elementary school teacher. Connor holds court by the new pool deck, surrounded by admirers. He catches my eye, flashing his watch as he waves. Rolex, he mouths, pointing to it. The deck gleams beneath his feet, freshly stained hardwood stretching the length of the backyard. $24,000, he announces to everyone within earshot when I approach. Custom Brazilian cherry. Nothing but the best for the best, right? His laugh bounces off the water. I force a smile, wondering for the 1,000th time how we came from the same parents. The party swells to 36 guests, most of Connor's friends already drunk by 2 p.m. I catch their sidelong glances, the whispers. I've always been the punchline in Connor's stories. Right on cue, he launches into one. Remember when Meadow thought she could try out for cheerleading? God, she fell so hard the coach thought she was having a seizure. What he doesn't mention. He'd loosened the screws on my shoes the night before. Mom laughs along with everyone else. Dad watches, stone-faced but approving. I've had enough. I grab my purse from the kitchen counter, ready to make my escape, when Connor blocks my path near the pool. Before you go, let's grab some cake, he says, his smile suddenly genuine. Put frosting on our noses like when we were kids and take a picture. For a moment, something softens in me, a childish hope that maybe, just maybe, there's still a brother somewhere inside him who doesn't hate me. I hesitate, then nod. Okay, one picture. While I set my purse down, I notice Connor whisper something to his friend Tyler. They exchange a look that makes my stomach clench. Tyler slips away toward the pool deck, something clutched in his hand, a small bottle. Clear liquid splashes onto the wood. I turn toward the cake table, unaware of what waits just steps away. My foot hits the slick spot. The world tilts. I'm falling in slow motion, arms pinwheeling uselessly. The crack when my body connects with the concrete pool edge echoes across the suddenly silent yard. The sky spins above me, clouds blurring into a white haze. And below my waist, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I can't feel my legs. I gasp. Someone please help me. Connor's nervous laugh cuts through the silence. Stop being so dramatic. Dad steps forward, voice commanding. Walk it off, Meadow. Mom hisses from somewhere above me. You're ruining Connor's birthday. The guests stand frozen, drinks in hand, faces twisted with shock and discomfort. No one moves to help. Then a woman pushes through the crowd, kneeling beside me. I'm a nurse. Don't move her. Her voice cuts through the chaos like a blade. Call 911, now. Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder as I lie motionless on the concrete. The world around me blurs into fragments, hushed whispers, shocked faces, the warmth of blood trickling from somewhere on my back. Time stretches like taffy, each second an eternity of terrifying numbness. The nurse kneels beside me, her hand steady on my shoulder. My name is Emily, she says, voice calm against the chaos. I need everyone to step back and give her space. Dad puffs out his chest. I was a field medic in the Marines. I should... With all due respect, sir, Emily cuts him off. Unless you're currently practicing emergency medicine, please step back. The paramedics arrive in a flurry of movement and equipment. Emily speaks in rapid medical shorthand, words like potential spinal trauma and loss of sensation floating above me. One paramedic, a woman with kind eyes and a stern mouth, carefully examines the deck around where I fell. What's this? She asks, touching the slick spot with gloved fingers. Connor steps forward. Just some water from... That's not water. The paramedic sniffs her glove. This is some kind of oil. A police officer materializes beside her, notebook in hand. Can you explain why there's oil on the deck, sir? Through waves of pain, I hear snippets of conversation, broken and disjointed. The officer was questioning guests. Someone mentioned a bottle. Connor's voice rising in pitch. It was an accident. Connor insists somewhere beyond my field of vision. Just a stupid accident. The officer's voice hardens. Sir, I need you to step over here. Mom hovers at the edge of my vision, wringing her hands. Officer, this is a family matter. Surely we can... Ma'am, when someone is seriously injured, it becomes a police matter. A second officer appears, speaking in hushed tones to the first. Words drift my way. Friend confessed. Deliberate. Thought it would be funny. A deliberate act that caused serious injury isn't funny. The first officer responds, no longer bothering to lower his voice. It's criminal. Boys will be boys. Mom's desperate laugh sounds brittle. Connor would never intentionally hurt his sister. Dad's boots appear in my line of sight. Officer, I served 20 years. I know how these things work. This is a family matter, and we'll handle it internally. Sir, step back now. The paramedics secure a rigid collar around my neck. Every movement sends lightning bolts of pain through my spine, but below my waist, still nothing. They slide me onto a backboard with practiced movements. Please, I whisper to the female paramedic. Will I walk again? Her eyes meet mine. We're doing everything we can. The hospital has excellent specialists. The ceiling of the ambulance replaces the sky as they load me in. Lights flash, equipment beeps, voices call out vitals. Emily climbs in beside me, her hand finding mine. Your family? She asks. Through the open doors, I see them huddled together. Mom, Dad, Connor. They're not looking at the ambulance. They're talking to the police officer, gesturing emphatically. They're busy, I manage, as the doors close between us. At the hospital, fluorescent lights streak by overhead. Medical terms bounce around me. Compression fracture, T12 vertebra, significant swelling, or 3. Dr. Nathan Cole appears above me, his face serious but kind. Meadow, I'm Dr. Cole. You have a spinal injury we need to operate on immediately. Do you understand? Am I paralyzed? The question tears from my throat. There's swelling compressing your spinal cord. We won't know the extent of the damage until we relieve that pressure. Will I walk again? I asked for the second time today. I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. He squeezes my hand. We need to move quickly. Is there family here I should update after surgery? I scan the emergency room. No sign of them. I don't think so. As the anesthesia begins to take effect, my last conscious thought is that no one from my family is here to hold my hand. When I wake, the world is softened by medication. Emily sits beside my bed, not in her party clothes but scrubs. For a confused moment, I wonder if I imagined her at the party. You work here? My voice sounds strange to my own ears. She nods. Neurosurgical unit, small world. Her smile fades. Your family gave the front desk your information and left. I told them I'd stay with you. Left? The word feels hollow in my chest. The police are waiting to talk to you when you're ready. Emily's voice gentles. Your brother and his friend are facing charges. A tear slides down my cheek. They chose him. Again. Again? Emily's eyebrows draw together. This isn't the first time he's hurt me. The confession opens a floodgate of memories. Connor pushing me down the stairs when I was 8. My parents blaming my clumsiness. The rough housing that broke my arm at 12. Followed by Dad's lecture about toughening up. Connor sabotaged my high school graduation speech by switching the papers. Everyone laughing as I stammered through random notes. A pattern spanning decades, suddenly crystal clear. Dr. Cole enters, chart in hand. You're awake. Good. He explains my surgery with compassion and clarity. The swelling, the temporary pins, the months of recovery ahead. Will I walk again? I ask for the 3rd time. The surgery went well. There's no severing of the spinal cord, which is excellent news. With proper rehabilitation, I believe you have a good chance at regaining significant mobility. Emily leans forward. I'd like to stay on as Meadows' advocate, if that's okay. Dr. Cole nods. I've already arranged for our top physical therapist to see you tomorrow. The road ahead is long, but you won't travel it alone. A social worker visits later, connecting me with resources I never knew existed. Support groups for abuse survivors, financial assistance for medical bills, legal aid. Detective Barnes arrives as evening falls, notebook in hand. His weathered face reminds me of my father, but his eyes hold something dads never have: genuine concern. Miss Ward, I need to ask you some questions about what happened today. I tell him everything: the oil, Connor's whispers, the history of accidents. Your brother and his friend are facing charges of felony reckless endangerment, Detective Barnes explains, but we need your statement to proceed. The words echo in the sterile hospital room. Felony, charges, against my family. I don't know if I can, I whisper. Doctor. Cole, who has returned to check my vitals, pauses. Meadow, I've seen injuries like yours before. This wasn't an accident, and it wasn't your fault. None of it was. His words cut through a lifetime of doubting my own experiences. I want to press charges, I say, my voice stronger than I expect. It has to stop somewhere. In the silence that follows, I realize something has shifted inside me. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing my own well-being over my family's approval. And somehow, through the fear and pain, it feels like the first step toward walking again. 3 weeks after the incident, the physical therapist's hands press into my shoulders, steadying me as I grip the parallel bars. Sweat beads along my hairline, trickling down my temple. 1 foot forward, then nothing. Try again, Meadow. Focus on sending the signal from your brain to your toes. I grit my teeth, concentrating so hard my jaw aches. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, my reflection in the full-length mirror haunting me a stranger balancing on trembling arms, legs dangling uselessly below. I can't. I whisper, then louder. I can't. The therapy ball sits on a nearby table. Before I can think, I've grabbed it and hurled it across the room, sending clipboards scattering. 3 weeks and nothing. Nothing. The therapist Jamal doesn't flinch. He's seen this before. That's not true. Your nerve conduction tests show improvement. The signals are getting through, just not consistently. I collapse into the wheelchair, burying my face in my hands. Sorry about the ball. I've seen worse. Yesterday, Mrs. Reynolds threw her shoe at me. His gentle humor pulls a reluctant smile from me. Small victories. Remember? Last week you couldn't feel pressure on your right thigh. Now you can. Later, lying in my hospital bed, I stare at the ceiling and wiggle my toes. 1 millimeter, maybe 2. A victory measured in fractions, but I'll take it. Doctor. Cole appears in my doorway, silhouetted against the hall light. May I? He asks, though he's already stepping inside. Behind him follows a tall woman with silver-streaked dark hair. Meadow, this is Dr. Isabella Martinez. She's a neurological specialist from Barcelona. one of the best in experimental spinal therapies. Dr. Martinez studies my chart, asks pointed questions about sensation patterns, then examines my legs. Her fingers are cool, clinical, yet somehow kinder than any family member's touch I can remember. "I believe you are an excellent candidate for the neural regeneration protocol," she says, her accent giving the words weight. "It is new, with risks. But for someone your age, with this injury pattern, there is significant hope." Hope, a dangerous word in this sterile room. My first therapy session with Dr. Winters feels like another kind of physical therapy, one for wounds I've carried so long I've forgotten they aren't normal. "You described your brother pushing you down the stairs when you were 8, she says, her voice neutral. "What happened afterward?" I stare at my hands. "My parents said I was clumsy, that I needed to watch where I was going. And if one of your students came to school with similar injuries, what would you do?" The question stops my breath. I saw Lizzie, one of my second graders, with a bruised cheek last spring. How quickly I'd called child services, stayed late documenting everything. My voice cracks. "I'd protect them." "Who protected you, Meadow?" The tears come then, 30 years worth. In my journal that evening, I write, "Realized today, I've been gaslighted my entire life." I learned a new word too, scapegoating. Family systems can be as broken as bodies. Maybe mine can heal too. My phone buzzes for the 18th time today. Mom again. Yesterday it was, "We're praying for you to come to your senses." Today it's, "How could you do this to your brother? To this family?" I silence it without listening to the full message. 10 minutes later, an email from Dad arrives. The subject line, "Family loyalty." His words are military precise. "You will drop these ridiculous charges immediately. The family handles matters internally. You've always been oversensitive, Meadow. Connor never meant harm. Your mother is having anxiety attacks because of your stubbornness." I hover over the reply button, then close my laptop instead. Dr. Winters would call this progress. The next morning brings a formal letter from Connor's attorney offering $50,000 to drop charges. By afternoon, 3 family friends have called to check on me, each conversation eventually steering toward forgiveness and reconciliation. When the 4th call comes, I answer with, "No, I won't discuss this further," and hang up. Dr. Cole appears after hours, carrying a weathered paperback. "You're still awake," he observes, settling into the visitor's chair. "Pain meds wore off," I admit. "What's that?" He glances at the book in his hands as if surprised to find it there. "Oh. Steinbeck. East of Eden. You mentioned you teach it sometimes. You remembered that?" His smile crinkles the corners of his eyes. "I remember most of the things you say." A pause. Then more professionally, "Your nerve conduction tests came back. The improvement is significant." We talk about books then, not my body, not my family, not the legal nightmare unfolding, just characters and words and why we love them. When he leaves, the pain remains, but something else has arrived alongside it, a feeling I can't quite name. Reality crashes back with the arrival of hospital bills. Even with insurance, the numbers blur together in terrifying strings of zeros. My attorney, Sandra Beck, spreads documents across my hospital tray. "Your parents' homeowner's insurance should cover much of this," she explains. However, there's a complication. They've transferred ownership of their home and most assets to Connor's name. "When?" 3 days after your fall. The experimental procedure Dr. Martinez proposes sounds like science fiction. Targeted stem cell injections, neural pathways remapped. 8 hours of surgery with a 30% chance of significant improvement. "And without it?" I ask. "Doctor?" Cole's eyes meet mine directly. "Partial recovery. Likely dependence on mobility aids permanently." I signed the consent forms without hesitation. I wake to sensation. Burning, stabbing, unwelcome but sensation. My legs are on fire, which means they're there. "Doctor." Cole hovers nearby, exhaustion etched in the shadows beneath his eyes. "Did you stay all night?" I ask, my voice rough. "Someone needed to be here when you woke up," he says simply. 2 weeks later, I took my first steps. They're ungainly, assisted by a walker and 2 therapists. But they're steps. My legs move because I tell them to. "Doctor." Martinez records measurements, makes notes, smiles. 85%, she announces. That is my new prognosis for your mobility recovery. Emily, the nurse from Connor's party, visits regularly now, bringing homemade food and gossip from outside. Today she's helped me settle into the hospital courtyard, spring sunshine warming my face. The support group meets Thursdays, she says, handing me a flyer. Trauma survivors, all kinds. They're good people. My phone chimes with messages from my elementary school colleagues, a meal train schedule, visit rotations. My apartment neighbors have organized an accessibility modification day for when I return home. Dr. Cole finds us there, clipboard in hand but clearly off duty. He sits on the bench beside me, careful to maintain professional distance. "How are you feeling today?" he asks. The question somehow weighted. "Stronger," I answered truthfully. He studies my face, then says quietly, "I've never met anyone as resilient as you." At that moment, surrounded by Emily's kindness, messages from colleagues, plans from neighbors, and Dr. Cole's steady presence, I realized something profound. Family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes, it's who shows up when everyone else walks away. 2 weeks after I return to my apartment, the courtroom feels too small for the weight of this moment. Connor and Tyler sit at the defense table, their expensive suits, a stark contrast to the orange jumpsuits I've seen other defendants wear. My brother's hair is freshly cut, his face clean-shaven, the perfect picture of remorse manufactured by whatever overpriced attorney my parents hired. "All rise," calls the bailiff. I grip my cane tighter as I stand. Months of physical therapy has given me back enough mobility to walk into court unassisted, though the pain still shoots through my lower back with each step. Nathan offered to carry me if needed. I refused. I need to stand on my own today. Judge Harriet Monroe enters, her silver hair pulled into a severe bun. She glances at the defense table, then at me. Something in her eyes tells me she's seen this story before. "The state versus Connor Ward and Tyler Richmond," she announces. "Charges of felony reckless endangerment." The prosecutor presents text messages between Connor and Tyler from the morning of the party. "Going to make sis take a little spill," Connor had written. "Got that deck oil ready?" "Lol, she'll never see it coming," Tyler replied. I watch my mother's face crumple in the gallery behind Connor. She didn't know about the texts. Dad sits stone-faced beside her, staring straight ahead. Connor's attorney, a man with silver temples and a voice like warm butter, stands for closing arguments. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges poor judgment in what was intended as a harmless prank between siblings. Miss Ward has a documented history of sensitivity to her brother's teasing." "Objection!" My attorney rises. The victim's medical records show multiple previous injuries requiring hospital visits. "Sustained," Judge Monroe says sharply. Connor's attorney adjusts his tie. The defense maintains this was never meant to cause serious harm. Judge Monroe removes her glasses, pinning Connor with a stare that makes him squirm. "Mr. Ward, Miss Richmond, let me be absolutely clear. What you call a prank resulted in spinal trauma that nearly paralyzed the victim. The text messages show premeditation. Your attempt to minimize this as sibling teasing insults this court's intelligence." She delivers the verdict, guilty. The sentence, 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service, and mandatory counseling. My stomach twists. I should feel vindicated, but all I feel is hollow. Weeks of pain, possibly a lifetime of limitations, and they walk out of court free. Nathan squeezes my hand as we leave the courtroom. "You won," he whispers. "Did I?" I ask. The law offices of Wilson and Kramer occupy the 15th floor of a downtown building with a view of the mountains. My attorney, Leah Wilson, spreads documents across her desk. "We've filed against your parents' homeowner's insurance," she explains. "The policy limit is $1.2 million. Given your ongoing medical expenses and diminished earning capacity, that's the minimum we should accept." I nod, staring at the medical bills she's arranged in neat stacks. The experimental procedure Nathan arranged cost more than my annual salary. "There's a complication," Leah continues, sliding over property records. "Your parents are trying to protect their assets, but," she taps a legal statute, "there's something called fraudulent transfer laws. Transfers made specifically to avoid liability can be reversed by the court." My chest tightens. "You're saying I need to go after my parents' house?" "I'm saying you need to consider whether your medical care and future security are worth fighting for." I close my eyes, seeing the home where I grew up, the bedroom where I hid from Connor's torments, the kitchen where Mom always served Connor the bigger portion, the living room where Dad praised Connor's mediocre achievements while ignoring my academic honors. This isn't about revenge, I say finally, opening my eyes. It's about survival. The next day, the knocking starts at 7 in the morning. I peer through the peephole to see my mother's tear-stained face. "Meadow, please," she begs when I open the door. "We're your family." I don't invite her in. That's what this is about, Mom. Family is supposed to protect each other, not cover up abuse. Your father says if you don't drop this lawsuit, we're done. He'll disown you completely. I almost laughed. And how would that be different from how he's treated me my entire life? She flinches. Connor made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting my birthday. Planning to hurt me isn't a mistake. The next day, Connor shows up. His voice carries through the door, loud enough for neighbors to hear. "You ungrateful bitch. After everything we've done for you." I don't open the door. Pastor Mike calls next. His voice is gentle, persuasive. "The Bible teaches us forgiveness, Meadow." "I've already forgiven," I tell him. "Accountability is different." Next week, my classroom feels like a sanctuary after the emotional warfare at home. 23 third graders watch with curious eyes as I navigate between desks with my cane. "Miss Ward, does your leg hurt?" asks Emma, her gap-toothed smile disarming. "Sometimes," I answer honestly, "but it's getting stronger every day." "Like my grandpa after his stroke," pipes up Jackson. "He uses a cane too." Their innocent questions heal something in me. My principal has rearranged my classroom to accommodate my mobility aids. My colleagues created a rotation for lunch duty so I can rest midday. During story time, I read them a book about standing up to bullies. Their wide eyes tell me they understand more than adults give them credit for. "Remember," I tell them, "being kind isn't the same as letting someone hurt you." The coffee shop is busy when Nathan meets me after school. It's our first official date, though the lines between doctor and friend blurred months ago when he started bringing journals on spinal recovery to my physical therapy sessions. "I found a table in the back," he says, guiding me with a gentle hand that doesn't assume I need help but offers it anyway. Less noise, and the chairs have better back support. The consideration in this simple act nearly undoes me. "Is this weird?" I ask when we're seated. "You were my doctor." "Were," he emphasizes. "I transferred your care to Dr. Samuels 2 months ago specifically because I wanted to ask you out properly. We talk about books, hiking trails he thinks I might manage with my cane, and his volunteer work at a camp for children with disabilities. Not once does he interrupt me or make me feel small. You know what I realized?" I say, stirring my tea. "I never knew relationships could feel this safe." 2 weeks later, I signed the settlement papers. The insurance company's initial offer, $1.2 million. After the court reversed my parents' fraudulent transfer, the final settlement added another $2.4 million from liquidated assets. Nathan holds my hand as I sign my name. The pen feels heavy. "It was never about the money," I whisper. He nods. "I know." Through the window of the attorney's office, I can see the mountains. For the first time since my fall, they don't look like an insurmountable obstacle. They look like a view worth climbing toward. A week later, my new home smells of fresh paint and possibility. Morning light streams through windows I specifically chose for their eastern exposure. No memories cling to these walls yet, no family photographs line the hallway, no childhood trinkets gather dust on shelves. This place is solely mine, designed for the woman I'm becoming rather than the girl I was forced to be. I smooth my hand over the custom-height kitchen counter as I prepare coffee. After months of rehabilitation, I can stand for almost 20 minutes before needing to rest. Dr. Cole Nathan says my progress exceeds all expectations. The experimental procedure worked better than anyone predicted. The doorbell chimes as I'm arranging a platter of fruit for tonight's dinner party. My first real gathering in this space. Emily's bringing her famous spinach dip. Co-workers from school promised homemade bread. Nathan will arrive last, after his hospital shift ends. My chosen family, coming together under my roof. I glance at my watch. Hours too early for guests. Probably a package delivery. When I open the door, the coffee mug nearly slips from my fingers. Meadow. My father stands rigidly on my porch, his military posture unchanged. Beside him, Mom clutches her purse with white knuckles. "May we come in?" My throat constricts. In the 9 months since the settlement, we've exchanged exactly 3 text messages and 1 brief phone call. Yes, the word escapes before I can reconsider. Old habits. They enter cautiously, eyes widening at the sight of me standing without support. Dad's gaze travels to the subtle modifications throughout the living room. Grab bars disguised as decorative elements, wider doorways, the absence of throw rugs. "You look." Mom pauses, searching for words. "You're walking." "Most days." I gesture toward the sofa. "Please sit." They perch awkwardly, taking in my new life. The silence stretches until Mom breaks it with a trembling smile. "The settlement money was put to good use, I see." "Yes." I remain standing, unwilling to surrender the small power that gives me. Dad clears his throat. "We heard you're teaching again. Full schedule?" 3 days a week for now, building back to 5 by next semester. Mom nods too enthusiastically. "That's wonderful, honey. We always knew you were strong." The falseness of her words crashes against 29 years of evidence to the contrary. I waited, knowing they didn't drive 45 minutes for small talk. Finally, Mom reaches for Dad's hand. "The lawyers are finished. The house is sold. Connors is completing community service." She takes a deep breath. "We should all move forward as a family again." There at Island, the reason for this unexpected visit. The word hangs between us. "What exactly is your definition of family?" My voice emerges calmer than I feel. Dad straightens, shoulders squaring defensively. Mom's fingers fidget with her wedding band. "We raised you, Meadow." Dad's voice hardens. "We put food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head." "Yes, and when Connor pushed me down the stairs when I was 8, you told me to be more careful." Mom flinches. "Children play rough sometimes." "When he broke my arm wrestling me to the ground at 12, you said accidents happen?" Dad shifts uncomfortably. "Boys will be." "When he sabotaged my graduation speech by stealing my notes, you laughed along with everyone else." The words flow now, not in anger but with quiet certainty. "And when he deliberately poured oil on a deck to make me fall, when I lay there unable to move my legs, begging for help, you told me to stop ruining his birthday." Mom's eyes fill with tears. "We didn't know. You didn't want to know." I move closer, my slight limp, more pronounced with fatigue. "That's different." The truth hangs in the air between us, unadorned by excuses or deflection for the first time in my life. "If you want to have any relationship with me moving forward, I have terms." Dad's eyebrows shoot up. "Terms, like a negotiation, like I have power here." "I do. First, acknowledgement. Not vague apologies, but specific recognition of the harm done and your part in it." Mom begins to protest, but Dad silences her with a look. "Second, family therapy before any regular contact, with a therapist of my choosing." Their exchanged glance tells me they've already discussed this possibility and rejected it. "Third, and this is non-negotiable, no contact with Connor, ever, under any circumstances." Dad's face reddens. "He's your brother. Biology doesn't make a family, actions do. You can't seriously expect us to choose between our children." Mom interjects. "I'm not asking you to choose. I'm telling you my boundary for having a relationship with me. What you do with that information is your decision." Interjects. Dad stands abruptly, hands balled into fists. "After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? With ultimatums?" That's exactly the problem. The words fall like stones. You see basic parental duties as gifts that require repayment. Even now, you believe I owe you something for doing the minimum. Mom's tears spill over. "We love you, Meadow. We always have." "Maybe, but love without protection isn't enough." Dad moves toward the door, shoulders rigid with indignation. "I didn't raise an ungrateful daughter." "No," I agree quietly. "You raised a daughter who finally understands her worth." I open the door. They pause on the threshold, waiting for me to break, to apologize, to capitulate, as I always have. Instead, I say, "You have my number when you're ready to discuss my terms." The door closes with a soft click. I lean against it, legs suddenly weak, heart hammering against my ribs, but my mind remains surprisingly calm. 20 minutes later, Nathan's gentle knock pulls me from my thoughts. I open the door to his concerned expression. "Everything okay? You look pale." My parents stopped by. His eyes widen as he follows me to the kitchen. "How did that go?" I hand him a coffee mug, our fingers brushing. For the first time, I saw them clearly. "Are you upset?" The question gives me pause. I search myself for the familiar guilt, the desperate need for approval that has defined most of my life. Actually, no. Speaking my truth without needing their validation feels freeing. The phone rings. Emily calling to confirm dinner plans. Her voice brightens when I tell her about the visit. Meadow Ward setting boundaries? I'm so proud I could burst. After we hang up, Nathan helps me arrange chairs for tonight's guests. The simple domesticity of the moment strikes me how different from the tension-filled preparations of my childhood. "You know what I realized today?" I tell him as the afternoon light stretches across my living room floor. The hardest part wasn't standing up to them. It was accepting that they may never change. He nods, understanding without platitudes. Another difference between the family I was born into and the one I'm building. Outside, birds call to each other across the lengthening shadows. Inside, I stand in my own truth, no longer afraid of the consequences of being fully seen. A year later, the chalk dust dances in morning sunlight as I write today's journal prompt on the blackboard. What makes a family? My third graders will have 30 different answers, and for once, I know exactly what mine island. I step back, admiring my classroom walls plastered with student artwork about kindness and respect. The slight twinge in my hip, a permanent souvenir from Connor's prank, barely registers anymore. Dr. Peterson says, "I've plateaued at 90% mobility. Good enough." My desk holds a single framed photo, not the awkward portrait that once hung from my rearview mirror, but a candid shot from Emily's birthday last month. Nathan has his arm around my shoulders. Emily and her fiancé James are laughing beside us. My support group friends surround us in a protective circle. My chosen family. The bell rings, and children burst through the door with chaotic energy. Between spelling tests and science experiments, I catch Tommy pushing Alex during recess. His excuse, "It was just a joke," sends ice through my veins. "Tommy," I say, kneeling despite the protest in my hip. Jokes make everyone laugh, including the person they're about. Did Alex laugh? His small face crumples with genuine realization. 1 year ago, I couldn't have had this conversation without shaking. Now, it feels like breathing. Later, at the trauma survivors meeting, I shared this story. I used to think healing meant forgetting. I tell the circle. Now I understand it means transforming the pain into something useful. My therapist said last week that most abuse survivors need years to reach where I've come in 12 months. I disagreed. I've had 30 years of practice surviving my family. The difference now is that I'm thriving instead. The latest update about Connor arrived via Diane last month. Community service completed with minimal effort, already planning his next expensive purchase. Gerald refuses all contact since I declined to drop the lawsuit. Their sprawling house sold for less than they hoped. Diane calls weekly now. She attends therapy, learning words like enabler and golden child syndrome. Sometimes I hear genuine regret in her voice. Sometimes I don't. I'm learning that's okay too. Tonight, Nathan uncorks champagne in my kitchen as Emily announces her engagement officially. The small gathering erupts in cheers. My foundation board members, all spinal injury survivors, raise their glasses. My neighbor Mrs. Fitzgerald, who drove me to therapy for months, wipes away happy tears. "A toast," Nathan says, his doctor's hand steady as he lifts his glass. "To choosing your family wisely." The words catch in my throat as I respond. "You all taught me what family truly means." Later, under a sky freckled with stars, Nathan and I walk the garden path behind my new home. My steps are uneven but strong. The reflecting pool captures moonlight as we pause beside it. "What are you thinking about?" Nathan asks, his voice gentle in the darkness. I smile, genuinely and without reservation, something that once felt impossible. "I'm thinking that some falls break you," I say, watching ripples spread across the water's surface. "And some falls break you free." His fingers intertwine with mine, and I stand taller than I ever did before the fall.